Welcome back, guys. So up next we are considering the pistol setup. As we look into that, let's first ensure we have our assets set up. So going to log, then assets, pistol, then source. So I have my assets already imported, the skeleton, the skeletal mesh, and the static mesh. I also have the textures, the ambient occlusion, diffuse, all the other texture files as well. Then the material itself. So everything has been set up. The next thing is looking at the C++ file that was used for the pistol setup. So there was a weapon component in the original tutorial that was used in the setup, but on looking at the variant shooter that I'm working with in my own case, the setup is different. There was no weapon component, but there was a shooter. There is a shooter weapon class, and the implementation of that in blueprints. So that's what I'm going to show you guys. So let's look at that. So let's head over to the C++ classes, then log. So in the variant shooter, let's proceed to that. Then weapons, then the shooter weapon. So this is the class where the weapon was set up in the variant shooter that I'm using. Let's look at that in Visual Studio. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Alright, here we have the shooter weapon, so let's take a look at the header file first. So as we go through this, you see that the default setup properties and methods are similar to what we have in the original tutorial, so it makes sense to use this as the starting point for the pistol setup. So I made my changes here, added the other properties, the fire sound, empty sound, reload sound. So there were the other ones that were already present. So in my own case, I edited this actual file, this C++ file, to match what I wanted to achieve while following the tutorial. I didn't change much. There were some things that I didn't use, but I left. Some I commented them out. So yeah, they already have the start firing, stop firing, activate, deactivate weapon, then fire. I commented this part down, the fire cooldown, fire projectiles, and calculate projectile spawn. Since we didn't use projectile, we used a laser, line trace actually. So that, let's head over to the implementation in C++. Here we have the C++ file. You can see I set the muzzle offsets appropriately based on the mesh. So the kind of mesh you are using might affect the muzzle position. Yep. Then we can see some things that are happening here. I think I had to add some things here so that I could make use of them later on. I had to make this cast. So the way the weapon, this shooter weapon was set up is that it has to have a parent, so that's the holder of the gun. So, and that is important for it to function properly. So I ensured I took notes of that while taking the tutorial. So this is the weapon owner, so that's the character holding the gun. The character holding the gun not only extends from like the original character class, but also this AI shooter weapon holder interface. Then we also need the pawn of the owner as well. Then the character. These are so this was there before. Then this attached weapon mesh was already in the shooter weapon holder implementation, so we just took advantage of that. Let's look at the other parts. So most of the things here are just the same, so I didn't change much in the methods. We have the start firing, stop firing already implemented. The reload was added, later. Then fire. The fire was the main thing that I modified a bit, since number one, we are not firing projectiles. So, and the way these shooter weapon class is set up is such that you can use it as a base. They actually used it as a base for different types of weapons, so like automatic, semi-automatic. So that's why, and I feel, at least for now, like I just wanted to create a simple pistol. So I just commented out these part that I felt were not needed. So remove things related to projectile, continuous firing, then implemented the necessary things. So playing sound at the location. Then the line trace as well. Set that up inside the fire method already provided here. Then the fire sound, the muzzle flash. I also commented this out. This has to do with like automatic shooting, which was not needed in our case. So I just commented all these parts out. So since we're not doing the auto shooting, I also commented out the cooldown method and fire projectile. The calculates projectile spawn transform also, that was not necessary, so I commented that out. So because I modified this template file, so it's affected the template scene. So, but I'm not using the template scene, so that's not an issue. So, the templates is just using the templates for what it actually means, for just as a base to modify and get closer to what you want. That's it for the shooter weapon. So just adjusting this, using this as my own base for the pistol setup. So if we head over to the weapon owner, so because I talked about this weapon owner here, so if we head over to the character, the lock shooter character that I created, let's head over to the header file. So you can see the lock shooter character inherits from the shooter character itself, and it extends rather. You can see that the shooter character extends from the lock character, that's the simple character created when the project templates when the project was created from the template. And it also extends from this iShooter weapon holder. So I had to like take note of what this shooter weapon holder does, which is ensure that it can be a parent to the gun whenever it is being used. So that dynamic needed to be taken care of. So that's why pointing that out. Up next is the implementation of this C++ class. So let's head over to Unreal Engine. So this is a C++ file, then it was implemented in the blueprints. Let's check that out. So let's look at the templates, the first person templates. Let's check the shooter, the variant shooter, the blueprints, then the pickups. So because that's where the weapons are. You can see we have a blueprint called BP shooter weapon base. So this is implementation of the shooter weapon C++ class. So if we check that out, you can see right here the parent class is the shooter weapon. So in the templates, let's open the full blueprints editor. This was used as a base in the template as well to create different versions of the weapons. We have like the pistol, let's check it out. So the weapons here, we have the grenade launcher, the pistol, and the rifle. So those are the three that were created with the templates. I was the one that created this particular one. So I'll talk about that shortly. So these three that came with the templates, the grenade launcher, pistol, and rifle, leverage on the shooter weapon base. So they implemented that. So in my own case, I thought about using this pistol, but it was for projectile, and I felt it's leveraging it to be a lot of like work. So it's just better if I adjusted the shooter weapon, then implement it in my own way instead of using their own implementation. So I created a lock pistol so I could differentiate my pistol from the one that was in the template. So check out the viewport. So we see that I am leveraging the BP shooter weapon base for this blueprint variant. So that was where I created the blueprint from, then implemented the necessary things. So you can see in the setup there is a first person and third person mesh, so you can sort of modify this template for third person if that's what you are aiming for. So I implemented the necessary things, the properties that were exposed in the C++. I implemented them. You can see, let's scroll down more. So the fire sound, empty sound, reload sound, the environmental sounds, which were implemented in the later tutorials, I added them here. So the muzzle offsets, exposed there as well, the clip size, the max ammo, the muzzle flash that was implemented later, then the default. So I didn't use, like in the tutorial, we used the clip size and the ammo size. I didn't use the magazine size that was set up for the existing templates. And you can see all other things that were not used as well, the full auto. So all these were from the, their own implementation of the shooter weapon. Next, let's look at how the pistol was then attached to the player, because the pistol in the tutorial was not something you pick up. It was something that was already attached to the player, so that's another different thing from between the templates, the shooter variants template and the tutorial. So you don't have to pick up the weapon, it's already attached. So we implemented that in the C++ aspect. Let's head over. So if you check out our log shooter character, if we check out the begin play, you see that on begin play we equip the weapon like in the tutorial, ensuring that the player is always armed with the weapon. Then this is the equip weapon implementation. You can see the pistol is being spawned here. Then set the correct variable. I set the correct variable that was already provided in the templates, the shooter weapon templates. Set the ammo as well. So I just leverage on the provided method, attach weapon meshes. You can see the attach weapon meshes is from the shooter character, so that attaches it. Attaches the weapon to the character. So I just made use of that here, so that there's no error, when the game is run, because the pistol, like I mentioned earlier, needs to be the child of a character, the weapon holder, when you use it in the game. So this is a necessary step to ensure it doesn't crash. Then equipping the weapon, then the weapon has to be at a particular grip point on the player's hand. If we head over to the character, the skeleton actually in Unreal Engine, let's check it out. Under our log folder, the assets, the first person arms, the source, let's check the skeletal mesh. So we attach the weapon to the first person arms, like in the tutorial. To do this, I did not create a new socket. Like there was already a socket set up, and grip underscore right for the right hand that was already created in the template. So I just leveraged on that. So I created a socket here on this first person arms and named it, ensured the name is the same as the socket that was already set up in the first person template, which is hand grip underscore right. Since I'm setting it up for the right arm in my case. So I ensure that the name is the same as that one. So it's easy to implement that socket. So that's how the and then I added the mesh, the socket skeleton mesh as a preview to actually ensure that it's positioned correctly. So if we check out the grip where it is named grip, let's check it out. On that, let's check the points where we equip the weapon. So equip weapon, let's see, attach weapon meshes. So on the attach weapon meshes, you can see in this shooter character that is provided by the templates, it attaches the weapon to the actor, and it's also through this method here, and it also attaches it at the socket point. So you can see this first person socket. Let's check it out. So you can see the name provided here is the &grip_R. So that's the name of the socket. That's why I named it this as well. So just leveraging on the what's already provided in these robust templates. Once that is done, once you've equipped the weapon, then from the tutorial, the fire was set up properly in the shooter weapon. So I just made my changes inside the shooter weapon, like we've already looked at, setting the correct ammo, playing the sound, then doing the weapon trace also. So all that was set up, the taking of it, that was I set up later, I think. So all that I did in the fire method provided in the shooter weapon class. Also, for reloading, I added the input, so I set it up. So let's check the character, the log shooter character. In begin play, then after begin play, there's a set up player inputs component. So I added the reload as well. So the player could reload. Then the implementation for that. So I implemented it here. So the key thing, like I already mentioned in the last tutorial, is the get first person mesh. In the tutorials or LNG version, the method was get mesh 1p, which you won't find in 5.6.1. So just taking note of that. And then playing the montage as appropriate. I think you can get away with just setting the first person mesh and maybe not both mesh, but I just wanted to set up both the first person and the character mesh. So that's why I'm doing some double like similar lines of code here. Okay, the other thing is, because I created a VR version of the project, so I had to tweak the setup a bit. So instead of the player permanently holding the weapons, I have to create a separate weapon so that the player can grab that. Let's check that out. So like this. So this is, I just named it. We won't look into that now. So, but it's just it's still technically the same weapon, but to make things easy for VR, I just created a different weapon. Then the player can grab that and shoot that. I just implemented that separately, but that's not necessary for this breakdown. I'll be doing the breakdown when I cover the VR implementation, which I did. That'll be, at the end of the main breakdown. So I think that's about it for the pistol setup. So we looked at the assets import, the C++ file, which we leverage on the shooter weapon class. Then we check the various methods, property that we use, the ones we commented out, to ensure that it's worked out well. Then the implementation of the class in Blueprint, and also equipping the weapon and reloading as well. I think I didn't show how I implemented the montages. I think we'll have that under animations. So yeah, just created the montages and then added them like in the project. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.